A Ukrainian artillery crew has 45 seconds. That's the window between firing and dying. The time it takes Russian counter-battery radar to triangulate a position, process the data, and put a return strike in the air. 45 seconds to pack, move, and disappear into the darkness before the world ends where they're standing. The gun they're working around was built before their grandfathers were born. No hydraulic autoloader, no digital fire control. They're doing this by hand, the same way men did it in 1944, swinging the barrel, setting the elevation, ramming the shell home. And the moment the round leaves the barrel, they're already moving. Because the flash was small, the sound didn't carry far. And those two facts, those two ancient analog facts about a weapon designed when horses still pulled artillery, are the only reason this crew has a chance of seeing morning. This is the paradox no defense contractor will put in a brochure. The most technologically saturated war in human history is being fought, and in key moments, decided by weapons old enough to be in a museum. And the reason isn't simply that Ukraine ran out of options. It's that in a war of pure attrition, where every shell is counted and every crew is irreplaceable, the oldest gun in the room is sometimes the hardest one to kill. Analysts at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington have called it bluntly. Ukraine has proven that artillery is still the king of battle. Not drones, not hypersonic missiles. Artillery. Enter the M101. This howitzer first appeared in prototype form in 1927. Its original carriages were designed to be pulled by horses. Read that again. Horses. By the time the updated truck-mounted version entered service in 1939, it had already been in development for over a decade. By any measure of modern defense procurement, this weapon is an antique, and yet Ukrainian artillery crews love it. Here's why. The M101 weighs approximately 2,260 kilograms, light enough to be towed by a standard Humvee or any large off-road vehicle. On a battlefield saturated with drone surveillance, weight is survival. Heavy systems need heavy transport. Heavy transport leaves tracks, burns time, attracts attention. The M101 doesn't care about any of that. But the real secret is in the flash and the sound. Ukrainian artillerists have described how the 105mm M101 produces remarkably little muzzle flash when fired. And its report, the sound of the shot, doesn't carry far. Modern counter-battery radar systems hunt for muzzle flash. Acoustic sensors triangulate the sound of a firing position. In daylight, this matters. In darkness, it can mean survival. The operational principle on this front is called shoot and run. Fire, relocate, survive. The M101's combination of lightweight and acoustic discretion makes it one of the most effective tools available for that tactic. With a practical range of around 11 kilometers. The carriage on one filmed example had holes from shrapnel in its frame, evidence of the density of the counter-battery fight. The gun itself kept working. But the M101 isn't even the most unexpected artillery story in this war. That distinction belongs to a shell. The 2S7 Pion is the heaviest self-propelled artillery system in Ukraine's inventory. Soviet-built, massive, firing 203mm rounds to a maximum range of 48 kilometers. It can reach deep behind Russian lines from positions well inside Ukrainian-controlled territory. It is, in the right conditions, a strategic asset. There was just one problem. Ukraine was running out of ammunition for it. The 203mm caliber is not NATO standard. It is not widely produced in the West. Sourcing shells for a Soviet gun in the middle of a European war is not a logistics problem with obvious solutions. Until someone checked a warehouse, the M106 is a 203mm artillery shell developed by the United States during World War II. Originally designed for the M1 howitzer, a system officially designated the M115 and decommissioned in 1962. These shells had been sitting in storage, gathering dust, for decades. They fit the Pion perfectly. So Ukraine found itself in the surreal position of loading American World War II ammunition into a Soviet-era self-propelled gun to fire at a Russian army in 2026. The shell was older than the weapon that fired it. And it gets stranger. Analysts discovered that Russian forces are also using M106 shells, apparently obtained through Iran, which received them as part of American military aid during the Shah's era. Decades later, both sides in a 21st century European land war are burning through the same American ammunition stockpile from 1945. The shell doesn't care who pulls the lanyard. Then there are the mortar rounds. The M768A 160mm mortar round, fitted with the M734 electromechanical fuse, entered service in the United States in the 1980s. The fuse has a rated service life of 20 years. Ukrainian crews are fielding examples that are 40 years old. They work perfectly. The M734 offers 4 operating modes: proximity airburst, near-surface burst, impact, and delayed impact. If one mode fails to initiate detonation, the system automatically sequences to the next. It will keep trying until the round detonates, a design philosophy that treats redundancy not as a luxury, but as a baseline requirement. The Ukrainians call these munitions a luxury, not because they're modern, because they're reliable. And then there are the cluster rounds. The DPICM, dual-purpose improved conventional munition, was last used by American forces in Iraq in 2003. Around 3 million units were sent to storage in 2008. They were considered surplus, problematic under international conventions, and quietly warehoused. In Ukraine, a single DPICM round does the work of dozens of conventional high-explosive shells. Its submunitions scatter across a kill zone of up to 300 meters, nearly 1,000 feet, on detonation. Against troops in the open, against vehicle concentrations, against the kind of massed infantry assault Russia deploys in its grinding meat grinder tactics. The math is brutal. One shell, hundreds of feet of destruction. The cost of production, 0. The rounds already exist. There is a problem that every modern military is being forced to confront, and no one has solved it elegantly. Cheap drones are everywhere on this battlefield. FPV systems that cost a few $100s to build. Reconnaissance UAVs off commercial production lines. Slowly evolving tactics pushing these systems into every gap in every defense. The modern answer to this problem is a surface-to-air missile, and the math is catastrophic. A state-of-the-art interceptor missile costs anywhere from $50,000 to several $100,000. The drone it's destroying cost $300. This is not a sustainable exchange rate. An enemy with access to cheap drone production can bankrupt any air defense system that fights this war with expensive interceptors. Ukraine found a different answer, and it came from 1960s Germany. The Gepard self-propelled anti-aircraft gun was developed in 1963. The Bundeswehr retired it from active service in 2010. When Germany transferred these systems to Ukraine, military analysts described them as obsolete surplus, better than nothing, but not the sophisticated solution the situation demanded. They were wrong. The Gepard carries twin 35mm automatic cannons and an MPD-2 radar with a range of approximately 15 kilometers. That radar, designed by Siemens, can track and discriminate targets with the kind of precision that makes it genuinely useful against small, fast, low-altitude threats. Exactly the profile of a combat drone. The Gepard doesn't fire a $100,000 missile. It fires a burst of 35mm rounds. The cost per intercept is approximately $100. Against a drone that costs $300, that math is finally workable. Against a Shahed, a much more expensive target, it's devastating. The Gepard has become one of Ukraine's primary tools for defending critical infrastructure against Russian drone swarms, and its combination of radar quality and ammunition economy has made it operationally indispensable. The weapon that was built to shoot down Soviet aircraft over West Germany in the Cold War is now protecting Ukrainian cities from 21st century drone attacks at $100 a kill. The Browning M2 heavy machine gun entered service in 1921. It fires a 12.7mm round at a rate of between 450 and 600 rounds per minute. It has been in continuous production in various configurations for over a century. Nearly 30 armies worldwide operate it or one of its direct derivatives. On this front, Mobile Ukrainian teams, typically 3 personnel, operate Browning M2 positions specifically designed to intercept Lancets in their flight sector. The cost of engaging a target, approximately $3 per round. A burst, $100 to $200. Against an asset that represents tens of thousands of dollars of Russian military investment, that exchange rate is ruinous for the attacker. The gun that first entered service when Warren Harding was President of the United States is now the most cost-effective counter-drone weapon on one of the most contested battlefields on Earth. Here's what this war has taught anyone willing to learn it. In the 21st century, as in every century before it, the thing that kills you on a battlefield is explosive force and fragmentation, not directed energy, not algorithmic targeting alone. Blast and shrapnel. It was true at the Somme. It was true at Fallujah. It is true in Donetsk. The weapons in this story work because the physics haven't changed. What has changed is the intelligence layer above them. Drone reconnaissance that finds the target. Satellite communications that transmit the coordinates. Encrypted fire control systems that route the call. All of that technology is doing its job. But the terminal act, the delivery of kinetic energy onto a target, is being accomplished by mechanisms designed before the invention of the transistor. Ukraine hasn't survived by abandoning the old for the new. It has survived by fusing them. A 100-year-old machine gun guided by a drone feed. A World War II shell fired from a Soviet gun, directed by GPS-corrected coordinates, at a Russian column identified by thermal satellite imagery. That's not a failure of modernization. That's a masterclass in it. If this kind of analysis is what you're here for, the mechanics, the economics, the real story underneath the noise, hit subscribe. And if you want to go deeper, there's a playlist sitting right there. Stay safe and support Ukraine.